This is SALT 2019, and I'm here with Valerie Jarrett, who really needs no introduction. But among many other things, she's a senior advisor to the Obama Foundation and the author of a new memoir, Finding My Voice. Delighted to be here with you.
Thank you, Bethany. I'm delighted to be here too.
So I read in your book that you spent the first 5 years of your life in Iran. How did that shape your views of the U.S.?
Well, pretty fundamentally, I think that in a number of ways. So first of all, we lived on a hospital compound with physicians, families from all over the world. And so I grew up thinking I could walk in a room and find something in common with just about anybody. Because that's who I played with, kids from all over. The other thing I would say is that sometimes folks who haven't lived outside of the United States, particularly in underdeveloped countries, take the United States for granted in certain ways. So my mom had to peel everything I ate and boiled everything I drank. And the civil liberties and democracy that we have here are very important. And so seeing the contrast to that in my early years was, I think, a valuable lesson. And then finally, I learned that the United States is the greatest country on earth. It's not the only country on earth, and that we can learn a great deal outside of our shores. And so I think it helped me put the United States in the broader context, having lived outside of it and having traveled so extensively during my childhood.
It's an interesting distinction. So if you could give one piece of advice to the Democratic candidates for president, what would you tell them?
Well, one piece of advice would be in it for the right reason. And that's service of our country, which means that you can't put yourself first. It means that you can't be too sensitive. It means if you're in it for the right reasons, so that means you're going to understand the importance of earning the trust of the American people, and that takes hard work. And this is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and I think it should be, because a person needs to prove to us that they're really capable of what it takes to run this most important country.
It's been surprising at a financial conference how often the topics of how much the world is changing have come up, whether it's gender equality, income inequality, and other issues. If you had to pick an issue that you're particularly focused on, which one matters most to you?
Well, I am a big advocate for gender equity, but I put it in the broader basket of social justice. I believe every young child in our country should have the opportunity to compete on an even playing field and get a fair shot. And so for little girls, I want them to not have a brick on their head. I want them to see the infinite possibilities ahead of them. And I want society and business to do everything it can so when they get older, that you not only attract the most talented, but that you can keep them there. And so that's everything from equal pay to paid leave, paid sick days, workplace flexibilities, all the things that as a young single working mom were important to me. And that without, I would have been holding on by my fingertips. And I already felt like I was holding on. But think about those working families that don't know if they're going to have enough money to put bread on the table and pay their rent and take care of their children. So I think we should be fighting for them. And one way of doing that is through civic engagement. So I'm a big proponent of trying to get people to appreciate we all have an individual and a collective responsibility to make our country better, and seize that and do the best you can.
Thank you so much for being here with us.
I'm delighted to be here.
So on the notion of all having a collective responsibility to make our country a better place, perhaps not what you'd expect to hear from a finance conference.